Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Saddest Night Out. My name is Roy, and I am the host of this daily podcast, and it's primarily about music and creative culture in London. Apologies for the slight delay in putting up this episode because the conversation you're about to hear happened on Friday the 30th of August just before my open mic at the King's Head in Bayswater. I am talking to Paul and Simon, and yes, they've heard all the jokes. Together, they are a musical act called The Word. Paul plays guitar and both Paul and Simon sing, and they actually do some Simon and Garfunkel covers, which doesn't help that whole joke. But they are fantastic on stage, and this was my chance to find out how they came to get together and what their individual histories are with music. As I suspected, they both have fairly artistic backgrounds. The way they met seems like a real positive twist of fate, and they both seem as excited as I am about how good they are and all the potential that they are sitting on. So I think this might be their first interview as The Word. So well done me on getting that scoop. That's why you want to listen to this podcast. I get in there first, folks. And at the end of this episode, if, like me, when you listen to podcasts, you listen at twice the speed, you're going to want to slow down to normal speed at the end, because I'm going to put one of their songs at the end of the podcast. It's a song called Chaser, and they talk a bit about it during our chat, and you're going to want to listen to that in normal speed, not at double time. So make sure you slow down to normal speed when you get to the end of the episode. But first, this is me talking to Paul and Simon, aka The Word. Enjoy this chat, and I'll catch up with you a bit more afterwards. It's Friday afternoon, so of course I'm outside the King's Head. I'm back in my office, but I'm here with another two newcomers to the podcast, but familiar faces on the open mic circuit. Would you kindly introduce yourselves to the listeners?
Hello, my name's Paul. I play guitar and sing and write songs with my friend here, who is?
I'm Simon Lawrence, and I do pretty much exactly the same. Write songs, sing, but I don't play the guitar very much. I leave that to Paul.
Paul and Simon, that joke writes itself, so we'll move swiftly on. So Paul, you mentioned you are a songwriter. Were you writing songs before you got together with Simon?
Yeah, I've been writing songs for years, since I learned. That's what I started doing when I learned the guitar. When I was like 18, I was like, my dad bought me this acoustic guitar, and rather than wanting to be like a lead guitarist or anything at the time, I just learned chords and learned how to write songs, and gradually started getting more into it. And then I decided I wanted to be a guitar, proper lead guitarist as well. Well, basically, and then I went to music college for a couple of years, learned about music theory, and started doing demos and played in quite a few bands over the years. Met Simon about 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, in the Gaucho Club.
We were at a club in London, and they have a pianist in the club every night. He's a brilliant player, and whenever I used to go there, I'd always go up and sing old like jazz standards and that. And Simon heard me singing. I was singing a Frank Sinatra on it.
Yeah, I got you under my skin.
And Simon just came along, started singing. Then we were doing harmonies. We sang like all night, didn't we?
We did.
Wow. I'd never met before. We just sang. I was thinking at the time, I was like, our blend of our voices is really nice. So
well, I thought I had competition because that's what I'd mainly do. I'm a jazz singer mostly. And so I was walking down the stairs and I could hear this guy singing Frank Sinatra but with a slight Liverpool accent. But I thought he sounds really good. I was like, I've got some competition here, man.
I don't remember having a Liverpool accent in Frank Sinatra. But yeah, so and then we didn't see each other for a little while, and then I was gigging over in Stratford a couple of years, about a year or two, I can't remember. Yes, we just started rehearsing at mine, and then I played in some of my songs, and then we started doing a lot of Simon Garfunkel harmonies.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a good starting place for us as a duo. Because the harmonies blended so nicely. So we've done a few Simon Garfunkel songs, and then Simon's kindly learnt my songs, and I'm starting to learn his songs as well, so we're taking it from there.
Oh, so you're both, 'cause at the times I've seen you perform, so you both write songs then?
Yeah, that's right. So the other night, I think it might have been after one of the open mic nights, we had a bit of a jam afterwards back at Paul's, and I've got this old jazz song that I wrote. I say old jazz song, but it's old for me because I wrote it like 15-20 years ago or something. And it's called I Don't Love You But My Heart Does, and I've done many variations of it with like jazz piano players, myself on guitar, and I wanted to hear Paul's like version of it, so I showed him the chords, and then like within 5 minutes he'd done like the most amazing arrangement of like one of my songs. So I'm really excited, maybe doing that at some point.
Yeah,
I'm excited as well.
Yeah, we're going to do it one night. So yeah, and so basically we're trying to. We're getting a set of original stuff together, and we want to be doing some gigs around London where we can like showcase our songwriting and the singing, and then hopefully, you know, because in the band is called The Word, and so basically it's like a collective, people come in and out, and so you know we've got a drummer friend of ours who's ready to to gig with us, and we keyboard players and stuff. So we're hopefully going to get it into a full band setup.
Yeah.
Get some good gigs. Like with looking at the Green Note in Camden.
Yeah.
So we could maybe do an acoustic thing there. Just trying to get the ball rolling really, and then the next couple of months hopefully get some decent recordings in the recording studio up in Hampstead. A friend of mine.
So you're not wasting any time. You found each other in the most fortuitous of ways, and like straight away, chemistry's there. Let's go.
Yeah, Simon just like he's been so positive about my songs and everything. It's a really good. It's a good boost for.
They're great songs to play on.
I heartily agree. I've had the pleasure of joining in a few of your songs as well.
Tonight,
like it started off with the covers, which were fantastic, and then when you started bringing some originals in, I was like, more of that, please, because you're clearly onto something. So Simon, you mentioned your material goes back quite a way. Paul, what about your material?
I've been writing for about 15 20 years, something around the same time. Just as soon as I learned a couple of chords on the guitar, really, I just started writing songs. They weren't very good at the start.
Of course.
Yeah, I remember the name of my first song. I think I was 15 or 16. Has the most pretentious title ever. It was called Harmonies of Love.
Oh,
I know, right?
Coming soon to store near you. I can always see like the album cover. You're on a pillow or something. Oh, that is.
Mine was definitely less pretentious. Mine was called Wind. And, the lyrics were, and I still remember the chords. The lyrics were, "Wind does my head in. Wind makes me want to stay in the bedding."
Genius.
I remember the
Star is Born. Right?
It's like, at least it rhymed.
I remember the first line to my song. Again, it's really pretentious first line. I was 15 and young and thought I was, John Lennon or something. And that famous phrase, "I think, therefore I am." Mm-hmm. My line was, "I think of her, therefore I am." Oh, how cheesy.
Take a minute to drink that one in right there.
I don't think we're putting that on the set list.
No. We'll skip that one.
And Wind.
Sorry folks, I tried, but it's not happening.
Wind can be taken in a couple of different ways, couldn't it? Yeah, I thought I'd sack that one off and leave that one.
So the stuff that you're doing with Simon, is that more recent material then?
Yeah.
Was it written especially for the two of you? Was it stuff you done?
But I am I've just started a new song last night, and I've been playing because we've been rehearsing and filming a bit this afternoon, and already he's coming up with harmonies and stuff for it. So.
I'm really excited, to be honest, when we've actually written our first song together. So Paul's already sent me a few little instrumentals and stuff like that, and I'm listening to them, getting like melody ideas, lyric ideas, and that's going to be really exciting when we've actually written our first joint song.
Yeah, but I had a bit of a hiatus over because I was I've been working in the show in the West End for a few years, and then I was on tour and that for a few years, and but while I was doing the show, I kind of had this like a new surge of just a load of songs came out in like a few months. It was great. I had a bit of a muse at the time, which we won't go into, but it was great, and so I got quite a lot of old songs which are kind of reworked, and I'm still writing new songs all the time. So it's been quite creative.
That's really encouraging, and I love the way you're both. This feels like it's early days, but you're already talking about let's hit the ground running, let's get going right away. Had you had partnerships or anything like this in the past, where you come across someone and tried something out?
I have, but in the jazz world. Because like I said before, I started working with Paul, really. I mean, this is why it's one of the reasons why it's so exciting for me, is because I've spent the last, since about 2001, when I first started singing jazz songs like Frank Sinatra and stuff. I've worked with a lot of different musicians, jazz musicians, a lot of different piano players, saxophone players, drummers and all sorts. And it's been nice to collaborate, but it was very much in that kind of crooner world, and I would write my own jazz songs and things, but I've always loved rock and roll, and I've always loved, like the songs we do, like Simon and Garfunkel, the Beatles, and then I just heard Paul's songs and I was just blown away by them. So it's just exciting for me to collaborate with someone and do something that's not jazz.
Still outside the jazz. You've been in the jazz world, you're familiar with that, but this exercises a different muscle for you that you've been longing to exercise.
Definitely.
Yeah, and you always said that you were like a baritone voice, but your high harmonies are like spot on. You know, it's like he's got a really strong high voice as well. He always considered himself as a baritone style. Didn't he? You said that, didn't you?
Well, I also thought, and I'd heard this before, so I don't know if this is a myth, that if you get used to singing in a certain key or whatever, so because I've sang Sinatra, which is that kind of baritone tenor range for so long, I just assumed that any range that I used to have, maybe when I was at drama school or something, had gone, and I wouldn't have that anymore. But then when I started working with Paul and we were doing things like The Who, and I'm going for these high notes, I was like,
You just go for it and think, I can't believe I sang that. How did I do that?
We were recording the other day in mine, and I was like, do it more rocky, man, do it more rocky. And he's like, it sounded like a bit like Freddie Mercury at times.
I don't know about that, but
I do. I believe it wholeheartedly. So, Paul, you mentioned that there were a few bands back in the day. Has there ever been something like this as well for you? Or is this a new venture for you?
I've always kind of worked with other people, either songwriting or just doing a duo thing, or in a band. I played in quite a few bands, I was in a band called, in my early 20s, in a band called Manor, which was really good for mates of mine from Liverpool. I'm still in Liverpool, and that was a great band, rock. We had a deal, and then the Polydor got bought out, and all kind of stuff happened, so it was hard to get another deal, and we weren't gigging or anything, so it kind of fizzled out, which is a shame, because there's loads of really good songs there.
So there's other original material of yours out there, or maybe not out there, but that exists in there. In different shapes. So you've already talked about...
They were mainly other people. That was me mate Carl's songs mainly in that band. All Carl's songs, I think, in that band, He's a brilliant songwriter.
So this is your chance to shine a bit more and showcase your stuff.
I've been kind of doing it off and on for years, but I just feel like I need to push it a lot more now, I think what the next step is to get some decent recordings in a studio, recording studio. A friend of mine, Paul Shivers, he's got a studio up in Hampstead, and he said, we're welcome to use it at any point, but it's just getting funding and stuff,
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's a great studio, so hopefully we'll get up there at some point.
You've answered my next question for me already, which was like, where can people start to find out what's happening next? So you've got your eye on recording. There was a hint at filming, like you mentioned earlier.
We're doing some promo videos at the moment. I'm just getting into video editing at the moment, which I'm loving. Just learning day by day. It's like a new learning curve, which I'm really enjoying. So we're doing promo videos, and I've started doing a couple of videos for original songs as well, getting a bit artistic with it.
By all means, exactly. Let that flair shine.
Yeah.
So where can people find it online and keep track of what happens next with the work?
We've got a Facebook page which needs sorting out, because basically it's up there, but we haven't got anything on it yet. So basically, I'm not very good with the whole publicity side of things.
It might be there sort of in its early stage right now. If you search for it, The Word.
Yeah, The Word. It's on Facebook, just called The Word.
Like Facebook.com/The Word, or make search The Word.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll do the hard work. I'll search and then I'll post the link.
You can find a link.
Yeah.
And you were kind enough to send me one of your songs that I'll put on the end of this episode. Can you tell us a little bit about that song?
It's called Chaser, and it's kind of double meaning with the word chaser. It's kind of like chasing your dreams, or chasing things you just can't grasp, and also it means when people chase a drink with another drink. It's kind of like it's a mix of a few different
because we're chasing that dream.
Chasing the dream. Nice plug. It's kind of a bit of a play on words at the start, and then it became about someone, and then it became into a proper song. And when I place, because sometimes songs just come out and you don't quite know what you write your own songs, don't you?
Yeah.
It's like you're like, what am I?
You kind of blurt it all out, and then have to go back and think, right, so what was that?
The first verse come out, and you go, what am I actually talking about there?
Also, just to sing your praises, I think one of the things we love is, but especially with Paul's songs, because with covers, it's just fun. You're just doing a cover, people probably know it. But I've noticed, especially when we do Chaser, that's a good thing I think I love about open mics, is they are a great way to sort of test like original material.
Yeah.
And whenever we've done, the other ones are great as well, but Chaser especially always seems to get, wherever we go, different venues get a really good response. So that was why I said to Paul, that's the one that should be like a single. If you want to do a single, that's just single material, man. And every time we do that song, people seem to like really respond to it.
Seems to go down well, yeah. And it was Sam's idea to start doing the open mics. It was his suggestion to, you know, see what people's reaction would be like, and it's been pretty good. And we love your drumming on it, man. When you're on the
I love drumming along with it. Like, I'll drum with everybody because that's kind of what I do. But I don't know if you can notice the smile on my face.
Totally.
Like, oh yes, take me there, take me there.
Cool.
It is absolutely fantastic. Folks, thank you both so much for joining me. Here's to a great open mic tonight.
Cheers,
and we'll keep our eyes peeled on the two of you. Thank you.
Nice one, man.
Cheers, Roy.
And that was that. Thank you so much to Simon and Paul. Maybe I should say their names in that order instead. A fantastic chat. It was, as is always the case, it's been a little while since I've interviewed anyone on the podcast, but this was a reminder of why I do this and how much fun it is. I never planned to talk about our first songs on this conversation, but it was interesting to hear. And those are some great titles. Wind, which I thought was quite funny that he mentioned his first song was called Wind, considering the wind made a little bit of a presence on this episode as well. Apologies for that. And what was the other one? Well, I don't remember the other song, but I remember that lyric saying, I think of her, therefore I am. Oh, that is gorgeous. I can only imagine a teenage Simon in his room thinking, I'm a genius. No one could come up with a lyric as good as that. And then looking back on it now and thinking, oh dear, what was I thinking? But it is endearing that they can remember what they were writing at the start of essentially their musical careers. And that, I think, is an illustration of just how much they care about their craft. And trust me, when you hear the song I'm putting at the end of this episode, the song Chaser, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. These are two people who are very passionate about the music they like and about the music they make. And it's fantastic that both Simon and Paul are writing as well, and that the chemistry is there in working on each other's material. They do some fantastic covers, but I think it was maybe last week in Camden that they did one cover and an original song by Paul. And when I heard the original song, I thought, oh, because some people can do great covers, but then the original music is a bit, it's okay, but not as good as the covers. But I'm really hyping up this song Chaser, but trust me, it lives up to the hype. So thank you once again to Simon and Paul for your time. And they played 3 songs actually at the open mic last night. The first time around they did 2 originals, and then the second time around they did Pinball Wizard by The Who, and I did my best John Bonham on the cajon. I was nowhere near John Bonham, but I had a good time. And, you know, folks, sometimes that's all that matters. I tried, okay? I tried. But those two, oh my goodness. The Only Way truly is up. And I can sympathize with being very enthusiastic and passionate about making the music, but sometimes the social media side of things takes a little while to get the engine going in the same way when it comes to that stuff. I think often because it can feel so much like admin. You're talking to someone here who, how long have I been talking about setting up my own website? And I'm still in the process, folks. I'm getting there. But I can sympathize. So when they do have their Facebook to a place where they want to share it, I will put the link in this episode. So stay tuned, watch this space. And of course, as I've started doing, when they release more music, particularly on my Monday catch-up episodes, keep an ear out for that, when I'll be all too happy to announce any music they're putting out and any shows that they have coming up as well. That was that chat. Myself, happy Pinch Punch first of the month. It is September. I will be making another episode talking about what I have planned for this month. But this episode is about the word. So thank you very much once again to Simon and Paul for talking to me. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, I shall put their song Chaser on the end of this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. You can find me online by searching for the words Saddest Night Out as one word, or you can reach out to me saddestnightout@gmail.com if you've got music coming out that you'd like me to let my listeners know about, or if you've got a show coming up. Feel free to let me know, saddestnightout@gmail.com. But now, allow me to present to you the song Chaser by The Word. Enjoy, and I'll catch you next time. Take care.
Chase one drink with another, reel from the blow. for another, and then I've got to go. I close my eyes. She wears the sunshine in her smile, but when I look around, the world is turning upside down. My head is spinning round. Say that you never loved him, so you can't let go. Pray that he will believe you. It's time to watch the show. I close my eyes. She wears the dress that